winning has always been in his DNA.
The Dutch driver will retain his crown.
Max Verstappen, you are a four-time world champion.
It's a late lunge by Verstappen, who takes the lead of the race. Verstappen now snatches the championship trophy.
Max Verstappen has been the face of Red Bull for several years now. His dominance in the 2021, 2022, and 2023 seasons proved how important he is to the team. But things have started to change, and now it seems that a major transfer could happen in 2026. Verstappen may be on his way to Aston Martin, a move that would shock the Formula One world. Although he is under contract with Red Bull until 2028, there are serious rumors that he might leave much earlier because of a special exit clause in his contract. This clause could be triggered if Red Bull's performance falls below a certain level. With the team now facing big problems both on and off the track, this clause is no longer just a theory. It has been confirmed by people close to the team, including Dr. Helmut Marko. Let's try to understand the entire situation in today's episode. Red Bull had one of the most powerful cars from 2021 to 2023. Verstappen won races easily, and many times he finished 20 seconds ahead of the second-place driver. In 2023, he won 19 races out of 22. That kind of performance is extremely rare, but in 2024, things started going downhill. Even though Verstappen is still a top driver, the Red Bull car has not been the fastest on the grid. Some races have seen Red Bull finishing behind Mercedes, Ferrari, and even Aston Martin. In fact, in 12 races of the 2024 season, Verstappen only won 4, and Red Bull was the third best team in at least 7 of those races. That kind of result can easily frustrate a driver who is used to winning almost every weekend. Helmut Marko recently said that Verstappen's contract includes an exit clause that is connected to team performance. If Red Bull is not in the top 3 in the driver standings or constructors standings, Max has the right to leave. Right now, Verstappen is third in the 2025 standings, just 8 points behind the leader. But it's not just about the points, it's about how the car feels and how strong the future looks. Red Bull has been struggling with car upgrades, and their main technical director has already left the team. These are warning signs. At the same time, Aston Martin has been building something exciting. The team is based in Silverstone, and they've been investing heavily since billionaire Lance Stroll bought the team. They built a brand new factory in 2023. They also signed some of the top engineers from other teams, especially Mercedes and Red Bull. People inside the F1 paddock say Aston Martin is now one of the most advanced teams when it comes to simulation tools and wind tunnel testing. On top of that, Aston Martin will have a new engine partner in 2026, Honda. This is important. Honda was the same engine supplier that helped Red Bull dominate from 2021 to 2023. They know Verstappen very well, and Verstappen trusts their engines. If Honda can deliver a strong power unit for 2026, then Aston Martin could become a real championship contender. This is why many people believe Verstappen may join them. He would be returning to work with Honda, and he would be joining a team that is ready to win. Another big factor is the driver lineup. Right now, Aston Martin has Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. Alonso recently extended his contract to stay until at least 2026. He is 43 years old in 2025, but still driving at a very high level. Lance Stroll, however, has not performed well. In 2024, he scored only 37 points, while Alonso scored 142. This gap makes it clear that Stroll is not delivering what the team needs. Even though his father owns the team, there is pressure now to bring in a better driver. If Verstappen joins, it's likely that Stroll will step aside or take a reserve role. So what would a pairing of Alonso and Verstappen look like? It could be one of the strongest lineups in Formula One history, because Alonso is a 2-time world champion with over 350 races under his belt. Verstappen is a 4-time world champion, possibly 5 by the end of 2025, and is still only 27 years old. The mix of experience and speed would be perfect for the new regulations coming in 2026. These new rules will focus more on battery power and efficiency, so it's not just about having the fastest engine anymore. Teams need to develop smart hybrid systems, and both Aston Martin and Honda are working hard in this. Meanwhile, the other big option for Verstappen could have been Mercedes. They are also building a strong car for 2026 and are known to be very organized. But the problem here is the driver situation. Mercedes is currently focusing on George Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Russell is under contract and has been consistent in 2025. He finished in the top 5 in every single competitive session so far this season. The team has offered him more than $30 million in contract for more 2 years. Antonelli is their young superstar from Formula 2 and is expected to be the future of the team. If they are fully committed to these two drivers, there is no space for Verstappen. Also, there are reports that Mercedes doesn't want to pay the kind of money Verstappen would demand. His salary at Red Bull is around $65 million per year, and to sign him, a new team might need to offer $70 million or more per season. Only Aston Martin has the financial power and the motivation to do that right now. Lance Stroll has always dreamed of making his team world champions, and signing Verstappen would be the biggest move in that direction. There is also a lot of talk inside the F1 paddock. Journalists and insiders say that many people believe a deal with Aston Martin is already done. Some Dutch reporters are saying it's just a matter of timing, while others say the talks are still ongoing, but one thing is clear. Verstappen is not happy with how Red Bull is performing, and he's looking at his options seriously. In the last few years, Red Bull has been a powerhouse team. With strong engineers, great car design, and the technical partnership with Honda, they managed to build a car that was almost unbeatable. But that strength is starting to shake. There are rumors about internal problems in the team, including possible changes in management and a shifting technical structure. The man who played a massive role in Red Bull's success, Adrian Newey, is said to be unhappy. If Newey leaves or reduces his role, Red Bull might lose its main technical brain. Max has openly stated how much he respects and trusts Adrian Newey.
The intensity, particularly after Silverstone, on track between Lewis and Max became so intense. I think Max had very strong feelings on that Silverstone accident. And of course he'd been clear championship leader going into Silverstone. We then him out of the race.
Newey's car designs helped him dominate the grid and win races with ease. If Adrian Newey does leave Red Bull, it will be hard for Max to believe that the team can maintain the same level of performance. For someone like Max, who wants to win every single time he gets in the car, this is a serious issue. Now let's bring Aston Martin into the picture. Aston Martin has been showing signs of growth over the past few seasons. The team is backed by Lance Stroll, a billionaire businessman who is willing to spend big money to take the team to the top. They've signed a partnership with Honda for the 2026 season, and that's a very important detail. Honda played a huge role in Max's previous championships with Red Bull. He has spoken very highly of Honda, praising their professionalism, dedication, and quality of work.
First, I want to try and just enjoy the weekend, try to, of course, go as fast as you can, but it's more about also just remembering all that we have achieved together in the sport, and who knows, of course, in the future as well, what can be done. So it's like I would say it's like a goodbye for now, but that's it, and I'm still quite young, and you never know what happens in the future, but I'm, of course, incredibly thankful to Honda, for everything that they've done for me.
According to Max, the journey with Honda has been unforgettable, and he clearly respects their work culture and engineering strength. Koichi Watanabe, the president of Honda Racing, has also expressed a lot of respect for Max. He said that Honda's engineers admire how clearly Max communicates with them, and this connection makes them want to work harder. Watanabe also said that Honda will have a say in the driver lineup at Aston Martin from 2026 onwards, so if Honda wants Max to return and build something great together, they will push for that. This brings us to a complicated problem. Aston Martin already has two drivers, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. Alonso is one of the greatest drivers of all time, but he's nearing 43 years of age and has hinted that he may retire after 2026. Meanwhile, Lance Stroll is the son of the team owner. He has had a long time in Formula 1 but has not achieved much in terms of podiums or race wins, and many fans and experts believe he's not the right partner for someone like Max. If Aston Martin wants to fight for the Constructors' Championship, they need two strong drivers. Max cannot carry the entire team alone. If Aston Martin wants Max Verstappen, someone will have to give up their seat. That's where it gets tricky. Lance Stroll might not want to remove his own son from the team. However, there are signs that even Lawrence understands that if he wants Aston Martin to become champions, he might need to make a difficult decision. Some reports suggest that Honda and Adrian Newey will have enough influence to push for a change in the driver lineup. If Newey also joins Aston Martin, the move for Max becomes even more logical. It's like building Red Bull 2.0 with the same key people, just under a new name. Now, let's look at what Max's options are. First, he can stay at Red Bull and hope that the team can fix their issues, but that will take time. If Newey leaves, the new group of engineers will need at least a year or two to get in sync. That might mean Max will not win as much in the near future, and for a driver of his caliber, wasting prime years waiting for a rebuild is not attractive. Second, Max could consider a move to Mercedes. Mercedes has a long history of success and is also rebuilding their team. They have a young star in the making with Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and together they could create a very strong lineup, but Mercedes is still finding it hard to get back to the top. Their car has been difficult to drive, and while they're improving, they're not close to Red Bull's current level. Third, there is Aston Martin. With Honda engines coming in 2026 and a possible deal with Adrian Newey, Aston Martin could become the next big thing. Max already knows Honda's work style, and if Newey is also in the picture, the car could be a winner from day one. This option allows Max to stay in a familiar environment with people he trusts. Juan Pablo Montoya believes that Aston Martin will make an offer that Max cannot refuse. He thinks that even if Max gives Red Bull one more year to sort things out, they probably won't be able to return to winning form fast enough. Montoya believes that the offer from Aston Martin, backed by Honda and possibly Newey, will be too strong to walk away from. There are also financial details to consider. Max is one of the highest paid drivers in Formula 1, but if Aston Martin really wants him, they will be ready to match or even exceed his current salary. Lance Stroll has shown that he is not afraid to invest heavily, and if having Max means Aston Martin can finally win championships, the investment will be worth it. Let's not forget that 2026 will be a major turning point in Formula 1. The engine regulations will change and electric power will become more important. Honda is confident about its new engine for 2026. They were worried at first, but now they believe they are in a strong position. Max has always liked working with Honda, and if they can deliver a powerful engine again, it makes the Aston Martin project even more attractive. Now, Adrian Newey also joined Aston Martin in March 2025 after leaving Red Bull. At Red Bull, he was the mastermind behind several championship-winning cars. His work helped both Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen dominate their eras, and because of this, many people in F1 think Newey is the greatest technical mind in the sport's history. So when he moved to Aston Martin, it was a big deal. Aston Martin didn't just hire him to help them now, instead, they brought him in with a focus on the future. Team principal Andy Cowell said that Newey's work will be fully focused on designing the 2026 car. He's not spending any of his time on the current 2025 car. This may surprise some fans, especially since Aston Martin is struggling in the early part of the 2025 season. After 4 races, Fernando Alonso has scored 0 points, and Lance Stroll has also had disappointed results. For example, Stroll finished 17th at the Bahrain Grand Prix, but Cowell explained the reason for Newey's focus in 2026. He said that the new regulations in 2026 are very different from the current ones. That means the team must build a completely new car from scratch. There is 0 carryover from the 2025 car to the 2026 car. Because of this, every detail has to be built and designed with care. Cowell also said that teams must finish some important designs, like the monocoque and transmission, much earlier than usual. Testing for 2026 cars will begin as early as January, which means teams must be ready by the end of 2025. Newey is working hard to understand the tools and systems at Aston Martin. He is learning how the team uses simulations, wind tunnels, and computer models like CFD. Howell said Newey has been impressed with the facilities, especially the wind tunnel and the campus. But Newey also wants the team to improve how they use those tools. He wants better accuracy in simulations and better results from wind tunnel testing. All of this shows that Newey is not just designing a car, he is helping to build a stronger and smarter team for the future. While Newey's focus is on 2026, the 2025 season still matters to the team and the drivers. Right now, Aston Martin is not doing well. Alonso has not scored a single point after 4 races, and this is unusual for a 2-time world champion. Lance Stroll has also been struggling. He finished 17th in Bahrain, and his frustration was clear. He said, "We're not where we want to be at the moment, and we are pushing hard to change that." He also said that the next race in Jeddah has a very different track, so they hope things might improve. But even he admitted that they don't expect big improvements anytime soon. Stroll's comments show how difficult the season has been for Aston Martin, and things got even more dramatic when a clash happened between him and Racing Bull's driver, Liam Lawson, during the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lawson had just returned to the Racing Bull's team after being dropped by Red Bull earlier in the season. He tried to overtake Stroll at turn 1 on lap 32, but that move didn't work out. Stroll turned into turn 2, and their cars made contact. Lawson's car suffered damage, and he was very angry on the team radio. He shouted, "What is this guy doing? He just literally turned across me like I wasn't there." Lawson kept driving even though he said his steering was bent. He finished 16th, just 1 place ahead of Stroll. The clash didn't lead to major drama on screen, but the team radio showed how upset Lawson was. It also added to a growing rivalry between Lawson and Aston Martin drivers, because in the past, Lawson had run-ins with Alonso. For example, at the 2024 United States Grand Prix, Alonso was angry about Lawson's aggressive driving. The two were seen having a heated talk after the race. Later, Alonso moved ahead of Lawson in qualifying, and Lawson said Alonso had warned him about getting revenge. This rivalry continued at the Qatar Grand Prix, where Lawson accused Alonso of slowing down on purpose to block him. But in a twist, Lawson later found out that it wasn't Alonso in front of him, it was actually Stroll. All of this shows that there is tension between Lawson and the Aston Martin drivers. It also shows how competitive and emotional F1 can be, even for drivers who are not fighting for podiums. Back to Newey, his presence at Aston Martin is a long-term move. He is not expected to bring quick results this year, but by focusing on the 2026 car, he is helping the team prepare for a big opportunity. The 2026 rules will change the way F1 cars are built. They will affect things like engine design, aerodynamics, and energy systems. Teams that do the best job of understanding and applying the new rules will have a big advantage. That is why Aston Martin is letting Newey focus 100% in 2026. This approach makes sense because trying to split Newey's time between 2 projects might lead to weaker results in both. It is better for him to give full attention to the future, especially since designing a brand new car takes months of work and many key decisions. Newey's experience with past rule changes also makes him the perfect person for this job. He helped Red Bull rise to the top when big changes happened in 2009 and again in 2022. Aston Martin hopes he can do the same for them in 2026. There is also some talk about how a driver like George Russell can be used as a reference point for someone who is currently at the back of the Formula One grid.
The Formula 2 Championship belongs to the roaring Gabriel Bortoleto. Gabriel Bortoleto takes the win, last to first. Hugely brave. Impossible stuff.
That driver is Gabriel Bortoleto. He's a rookie in 2025 and driving for Sauber, which has been one of the slowest teams this season. While it might seem strange to compare one of the best drivers on the grid right now with the one in the last place, Bortoleto has a very specific reason for choosing Russell as a role model. In the first 4 races of the 2025 season, George Russell has been on the podium 3 times. He is showing consistent speed and maturity and is considered one of the top 3 drivers on the grid by many experts. But Bortoleto is not focusing on Russell's success in 2025, instead he is looking back to the beginning of Russell's F1 career. This is when Russell was also struggling at the back of the field, driving for Williams in 2019. In 2019, George Russell drove all 21 races for Williams and finished the season without scoring a single point. In fact, he qualified in the last 2 rows of the grid in all but 4 races. His car was not competitive at all, Williams was the slowest team, and Russell had almost no chance of scoring points. Yet, Russell stayed positive, continued learning, and made the most of every race. In his second season in 2020, Russell still did not score points for Williams. The only points he earned that year came when he replaced Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes for 1 race, and that race was the Sahir Grand Prix, and Russell was in a strong position to win. He led for most of the race, but a mistake in the pit stop and a later puncture meant he finished only 9th. Still, it showed how good he could be when given a fast car. Then in 2021, Russell stayed at Williams for a 3rd season. The car was a bit better, and he managed to score points 4 times. That year, he also got a chance to prove himself more clearly. He qualified 2nd in Belgium and ended up on the podium after a rain-shortened race. That was the big step that helped him get a seat at Mercedes in 2022, and once he joined Mercedes, things changed quickly. Russell became a race winner. He has now won 3 Grand Prix, taken 5 pole positions, and stood on the podium 17 times. Mercedes even described him as one of the best 3 drivers in Formula 1. In 2025, he is again showing his talent, with several top finishes already in the first part of the season. Now, let's come back to Bortoleto.
Bortoleto, Gabriel Bortoleto. He knows he's made history. Gabriel Bortoleto, a new championship leader.
His journey is just beginning. He is 19 years old and joined F1 after winning both Formula 3 and Formula 2 titles back-to-back. That kind of achievement is very rare. It shows how much talent he has. But F1 is on a different level. Right now, Sauber is struggling badly. In the first 4 races of 2025, Bortoleto's best finish is 14th. He has not scored any points yet. Only 4 drivers on the grid in 2025 have not scored a point, and Bortoleto is one of them. He also shares the team with Nico Hülkenberg, a very experienced driver. Hülkenberg scored some points in Australia, but that was more because of luck than speed. In general, both Sauber drivers are stuck in Q1 during qualifying, which means they're starting near the back for every race. Despite this difficult situation, Bortoleto is trying to stay calm. He said in an interview that he expected this kind of season. He knew Sauber was not a top team when he joined. In 2024, the team had finished last in the standings and only scored points in the second last race of the year, so Bortoleto said that nothing was surprising to him this year. He also talked about how his goals have changed. In F3 and F2, he was fighting for wins and titles. Now, even getting into Q2 and qualifying feels like a big achievement. Getting into Q3, the top 10, is a dream for now. He mentioned how tough it is mentally, but also said that this is just the price a rookie has to pay. He used George Russell's example to show that things can change. Russell spent 3 years with slow cars before becoming a race winner. Bortoleto said he knows he needs to be a patient driver, learn from every race, and show what he can do even in a slow car. He believes that every good driver has to go through some tough times at the beginning. The situation might improve soon. In 2026, Sauber will officially become Audi's works team. This could bring better funding, better technology, and a stronger car. Bortoleto is hoping that this change will give him a chance to fight higher up the grid, but for now he said that all he can do is give feedback to the team, help them develop the car, and improve as a driver. He also showed a lot of maturity in his words. He admitted that the current car is not fast enough to fight for points on pure pace. Not just for him, but for Hülkenberg too. He said that they need to work together to help the team move forward, and he remembered how Sauber brought some upgrades late in 2024 that made a big difference. He believes the same can happen again in 2025. These sparks are caused by metal pieces called skid blocks that hit the track surface when the car runs low to the ground. These skid blocks are made from titanium, and they create bright white sparks when they scrape the ground. These sparks look exciting to fans, but they're causing trouble on certain tracks, especially where there is dry grass near the racing surface. During the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix, the issue became very clear. The Suzuka track had 5 separate fire-related stoppages over the weekend. Even though the FIA tried to stop the fires by cutting grass short and watering off-track areas, sparks from the cars still lit the grass on fire. The only reason the actual race on Sunday did not face the same problem was because it rained heavily on Saturday night, so the grass was too wet to catch fire the next day. This was not the first time such fires happened. In 2024, the Chinese Grand Prix also had the same problem. After the Japan race, the FIA looked closely at what caused the fires. They found that the titanium shards that break off from the skid blocks are not only very hot, but they also stay hot for a long time. When these white hot pieces fall into dry grass, they can easily start a fire. The FIA also noticed that teams are running their cars lower to the ground this year, which means the skid blocks touch the track more often and create more sparks. To stop this from happening again, the FIA has started talking with teams about possible changes. One of the most important ideas is to use different materials in the skid blocks. Right now, titanium is the standard because it is light and creates the nice visual sparks that fans enjoy. But to stop fires, the FIA is suggesting that for certain tracks, teams must use skid blocks made from steel alloys instead of titanium. Steel also creates sparks, but they're not as hot or as bright. The steel pieces cool down much faster than titanium, so they're much less likely to start fires when they hit the grass. The change is not simple though. Steel is heavier than titanium, nearly 3 times heavier. This will affect the total weight of the cars and how they perform on the track. Teams will have to make adjustments to how they balance the car and how they manage tire wear and fuel use. The FIA is not planning to switch all races to steel skid blocks. Instead, they will divide the races into 2 categories. For tracks where there is a lot of grass near the racing surface, steel blocks will be mandatory. These include races in Imola, Spain, Canada, Austria, Britain, Belgium, Hungary, the Netherlands, Italy, the US, Mexico, and Brazil. For tracks in cities or with less grass, teams can still use titanium. These tracks are Miami, Monaco, Azerbaijan, Singapore, Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. It happened in Jeddah on April 19th. The qualifying session had 3 parts: Q1, Q2, and Q3. And each part helped decide the starting positions for the race on Sunday. Max Verstappen took the pole position by setting the fastest lap time. His time was 1 minute 27.294 seconds. He beat Oscar Piastri by just 0.01 seconds, which is only 1/100th of a second. That tiny gap made a huge difference. Piastri ended up in second place, while George Russell took third with a time of 1 minute 27.407 seconds. This qualifying was not easy for many drivers. Lando Norris for McLaren was one of the favorites, but he crashed during Q3 and could not finish. He did not record a lap time in Q3 and had to settle for 10th place. Before the crash, McLaren looked strong because both Piastri and Norris had shown great speed in the practice sessions. Q1 began at 8 p.m. local time. The temperature had dropped from 52 degrees Celsius in practice to 38 degrees. That change helped improve grip. All drivers used soft tires to get the best performance. Esteban Ocon from Haas was the first to go out on the track. After the first set of laps, Oscar Piastri was in first place with a lap time of 1 minute 28.019 seconds. Lando Norris was very close to him, only 0.007 seconds behind. Verstappen was in third, about 0.1 seconds behind Piastri. Many drivers were in danger of getting eliminated in Q1. These included Jack Doohan, Liam Lawson, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Gabriel Bortoleto. Isaac Hadjar also had a scare when he hit the wall in his Racing Bull's car. At Alpine, Gasly had a strange moment. His car was released from the garage with a tire warmer still on one of the front tires. A mechanic had to remove it quickly before Gasly went out. As Q1 ended, Verstappen took the top spot with a 1 minute 27.778 seconds lap. Stroll missed Q2 by a small margin and ended up in 16th place. Doohan was 17th, Hülkenberg and Bortoleto were 18th and 20th. Bortoleto had a spin at turn 1 during his final lap and could not recover. Ocon was 19th, completing a tough session for the Haas team. These 5 drivers were knocked out in Q1. Q2 started with Alex Albon heading out first. He had touched the wall during Q1 but still made it through. Verstappen set an early fast lap but was soon beaten by Norris, who did a lap in 1 minute 27.481 seconds. That was 0.04 seconds quicker than Verstappen. Norris looked fast and confident. Verstappen had some concerns though. He told his team that he had hit the car's plank hard on a curb and wanted them to check it. Carlos Sainz and Kimi Antonelli, who were at risk early in Q2, improved their times. Sainz moved to 6th place while Antonelli went to 5th. Lawson improved too and jumped to 10th place, but this pushed Lewis Hamilton down to 11th. Hamilton was just on the edge of getting eliminated, but in the last few minutes, he pushed hard and got into the top 10. Alex Albon missed Q3 by only 0.007 seconds. His time was not enough to beat Hamilton's last effort. Lawson dropped to 12th, Alonso finished 13th, Hadjar and Bierman ended up in 14th and 15th, so the 5 drivers out in Q2 were Albon, Lawson, Alonso, Hadjar, and Bierman. Now, it was time for Q3, the final part of the qualifying. The top 10 drivers from Q2 had one last chance to fight for pole position. These included Verstappen, Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Antonelli, Sainz, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Gasly, and Norris. Everyone wanted to see who would come out on top. Oscar Piastri was the first to go out. He completed his lap and set a time. Then came the big moment. Lando Norris hit a curb at turn 5, lost control, and crashed into the wall. His car was damaged and the session was stopped with a red flag. Luckily, Norris was not injured, but his qualifying was over. He did not get a time and had to accept 10th place. After about 8 minutes, the session restarted. Only 9 cars were left. Verstappen was quick again and beat Piastri's time by just 0.001 seconds. Most drivers waited for the final minutes to do one fast lap. George Russell was the first to take P1 during the final push, but Piastri beat him again. Then Verstappen came back with his best lap, 1 minute 27.294 seconds. It was just 0.010 seconds faster than Piastri's time of 1 minute 27.304 seconds. That was enough to secure pole position. Russell was third with 1 minute 27.407 seconds. Charles Leclerc came fourth with 1 minute 27.670 seconds. Kimi Antonelli took 5th place, finishing with 1 minute 27.866 seconds. Carlos Sainz did his best, qualifying for Williams and took 6th. Hamilton, still adjusting to life at Ferrari, came 7th. Yuki Tsunoda finished 8th for Red Bull, Gasly was 9th for Alpine, and Norris, due to his crash, remained in 10th.
Expected in the team, did you think you could do that?
No, not really, honestly, after FP3. I mean, I quickly looked at the data difference in FP3 and I immediately just turned it off. And it's like, well, that's going to be very hard to do. But yeah, somehow when it just cools off again, it just seems to give, most of the other teams more performance.
After the session, Verstappen said he was very happy. He said that he did not expect to get pole, especially after free practice 3. He explained that they made final changes to the car before qualifying, and the car started to feel better. Finally, to sum it up, Verstappen has the power to leave Red Bull if the team's performance drops. Red Bull is no longer the dominant force, and 2024 and 2025 have shown signs of trouble. Aston Martin, with Honda backing them from 2026, looks like a team on the rise. Their facilities, their budget, and their hunger for success make them a perfect fit for a driver like Verstappen. So that's all we have for today's episode. Don't forget to give this video a like, smash that subscribe button, and also ring that notification bell for more upcoming uploads.